Agree that the kitchen doesn't have rugs in it, correct?
No, the floor is...
Paragraph that you showed me,
Correct, the one I just showed you, yes.
that she stated that she...
Dan wasn't even paying attention to that, but Dan knew every detail. That was not.
In January 1993, a police officer in Jacksonville noticed that a kitchen had no rug in it. That is the whole observation. There was a black and white woven rug, a Christmas present, and it matched the rest of the kitchen, and then it was not there, and some things were balled up in the laundry room. Nobody knew at the time whether that meant anything. This video is 3 cases built out of details like that. A rug, a walking frame, a night that nobody wrote down properly because nobody yet had a reason to. Not a ranking. Just the small things and the years it took for anyone to check them. All real courtroom tape. We start in Jacksonville, Florida. This cross-examination is almost entirely about household objects, and it is far more effective than that sounds. A rug received as a Christmas present in 1992. What was and was not on the kitchen floor in January 1993? What was balled up in the laundry room? And who put it there? Michael Haim answers each one, and the questions keep coming, because a person can explain away one odd domestic detail far more easily than 11 of them in a row.
We're showing you this been entered to evidence of Stacy's Exhibit 43. Page 5 of 6 under Tenant Rules and Regulations, Clause 18. Who wrote that star on that piece of paper? We saw it on the overhead earlier in the job.
It was probably me.
Okay, and that paragraph says that there's an addendum to that, correct?
Addendum? Yes.
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 Thank you. Isn't it true, Mr. Haim, that Bonnie received that black and white woven rug as a Christmas present in 1992, and that it was kept in the kitchen to match all her other cow paraphernalia art?
I don't recall when she got it from who or anything like that.
Would you agree that the kitchen doesn't have rugs in it, correct?
No, the floor is pretty much brand new.
Okay, but on January 6th of 1993, it did have rugs in it, correct?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, what were all those things balled up in your laundry room?
I didn't put them there.
Would it be unusual for your mom, Carol Haim, to have Bonnie Haim's car key and house key on that keychain that we've seen with Aaron's picture on it?
I don't know. I don't know what my mom had.
You testified that Bonnie had acrylic nails and she was painting them?
Yes.
What color was she painting them?
I don't recall the color.
But she was into her nails and they were acrylic?
That was pretty important to her.
Okay. The call that Bonnie Haim made to Evan Haim,
Yes.
that you say is true, that call happened, correct?
Yes.
Took place before you and Bonnie had any discussions about your marriage, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So she was not upset.
No.
But Bonnie Haim was upset after your discussions, correct?
She wasn't crying, if that's what you mean. She was withdrawn.
Okay. But Evan Haim was right that you did have discussions, marital discussions, with Bonnie on January 6, 1993, correct?
Yes.
Okay. One other thing about the timeline I want to point out is you made a phone call at 7 a.m., correct?
Yes.
And your testimony on my cross-examination question was, I would not have called in to ask about Bonnie until 9 o'clock because she wouldn't have gotten there until 9 o'clock, correct?
Her normal arrival time for the office was between 8:30 and 9, that's correct.
Isn't it true, Mr. Haim, that you did not receive your phone call about her purse being in a dumpster until 9:22 a.m.?
I don't recall what time the phone call come in.
What were you doing from 7 o'clock until 9:22, which was the testimony of Randy Falk when he got dispatched? What were you doing for that 2 hours and 22 minutes to help find your wife?
I was home with Aaron.
So the answer is nothing?
That's right. I was at home with Aaron.
I just want to clear up something. Your release in this case was pursuant to a surety bond, correct?
Excuse me?
Your release, Mr. Fallis, asked you about that you were in jail for a short period of time until you're released, correct?
Yes.
And that was pursuant to a surety bond that was posted, correct?
I couldn't tell you what kind of bond it was called. I never heard
A
of it.
bond.
Yeah.
Okay. You would agree that the Toyota Camry was Bonnie Haim's mode of transportation, correct?
Yes.
And she was a busy working mother, correct?
Yes.
And the days leading up to her disappearance, not only did she have to drive Aaron around to get him to and from his childcare, correct? She had to do that.
I picked him up quite often as well.
Okay. But she at least had to get him there,
Yeah.
correct? And she wouldn't just stop in the car. It wasn't a carpooling situation. She'd have to get out of the car and take him in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so she would do that. She would go to work. And in fact, she went to Gainesville a couple of times, I think, in this period of time. Is that correct?
Not in her car, but she did travel to Gainesville.
Okay. But she's a busy woman. She's getting in and out of that car a whole bunch of times, correct?
Well, when she went to work, she got out, yes.
Okay. And the last time that you ever drove that vehicle is going to be New Year's Day, correct?
Possibly. I think I could have drove it on the 4th after we went to the funeral to pick up Aaron. I couldn't say 100%, but it's possible.
You testify on direct examination that on the night in question, on January 6th, that you went into the car to get packages.
That's correct.
You didn't sit in the driver's seat and put your feet facing forward to get those packages, did you?
I could have sit in the car. I don't know exactly where my feet would have been to get Aaron out of the car. I don't know.
Well, that's not logical, Mr. Haim, that you would just reach in and get the packages, right?
The packages possibly, but not Aaron.
Well, you would sit in the driver's seat to get Aaron out of the back seat or the passenger seat?
He was in the front seat.
Is he usually in the front seat?
Yes.
All the time?
All the time. That's wherever he wanted to sit is where he sat. That's where he sat.
Okay, and the
And he
car
told-
seat in the front seat.
And he told.
This is not a defendant. It is a sheriff's deputy being asked what he did on a night that looked at the time like an ordinary death, and what he committed to paper while it was still possible to. Nobody treats a routine call as a murder investigation, and that is precisely the ground the defense is working here. Not that anyone did anything wrong, but that the record is thinner than a jury might assume.
I just take it from the last judge.
Yes, please.
So, as I was saying, I say conversation because this isn't a formal interview, right?
Correct.
This is going off of the death checklist that you mentioned yesterday.
Correct.
Okay. Now, in this conversation, you do get information from Miss Richins, and in the paragraph that you just read, okay? And what did you learn at that point?
Learned the
Yeah.
second paragraph that you showed me,
Correct, the one I just showed you, yes.
that she stated that she placed a blanket on him because she felt that he was cold.
Correct. And then what else?
She turned on the light and realized what he wasn't responsive. Like,
So right now, that's exactly what I want to talk about. He said that he felt cold, and then she turned on the light. Okay. I'm gonna give this back to you. I'm gonna
Okay.
focus on the time in between. Okay.
are we looking at a minute?
Oh, just this underlined portion. Okay. Just read that to yourself.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So from the time that she felt and got into bed and felt his cold body, she put a blanket on, like you said, and then what did she do?
She turned on the light. She felt that he wasn't breathing, so she turned on the light.
How long?
It says in the statement 1 minute.
For a minute.
For a minute.
Correct. Now, we don't know, just like there are some changes for you as you testified earlier between 541, 549, a minute, right? Like for a minute, it's an expression, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So she gets into bed, she feels her cold husband, and she stays there for a minute. And then she doesn't hear him breathing. Okay? Is that right?
Correct.
Or anything.
It says she didn't feel him breathing
Or anything.
or anything.
Now, that's important. That's an important detail. Correct?
Correct.
That information wasn't given to DiBotello a couple minutes later, correct? In what we just read earlier.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm getting through these. During this entire conversation that you've had with her, we saw yesterday, and just to reiterate, it was a edited clip, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we could see on the bottom, the jury can follow along to see how quickly the edits are, okay? But I want to talk about that entire conversation that you had with her, okay? Ms. Richins was emotional, right? Right?
Yes, she was emotional.
And she was upset.
Yes.
And that's common, right? I mean, that's not unexpected for somebody who just lost their husband, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, would it surprise you if another one of your officers indicated that you thought she was not emotional?
Would it surprise me?
Yeah. Like, would you have made that statement?
No, I don't know Miss Richins, so I don't know how her emotion, as in like, you know, personal when I arrived, what I see, but through the call, then I start putting things together, details of how she acts.
Yeah, those details are important. We've talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah, and just like you said, we saw the video. She was emotional. She was upset. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's talk about the death investigation checklist. Okay? We talked about yesterday about what you did. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to go to this one. This was presented yesterday in evidence. That's the voluntary statement. You recall that?
Yes,
Okay.
that is a voluntary statement.
Now, you didn't give this to Miss Richins.
I did not.
Okay. Now, if you look around right before Miss Richins' written statement, you see there's a line there. I want you to read that line, okay? It's followed by a bold lettering.
Which
Do you mind pointing
Yeah.
out for Mr. Reynolds?
So right above written statement, this line right here.
where it says describe.
Correct. Just read that to yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you didn't do this one, but you've done lots of these voluntary statements, correct? You
Yes.
give them out.
Yes.
Now, the point of a voluntary statement is
And back to Nancy Crampton Brophy, still on the stand, still working through her own history in her own words. This is the unglamorous middle of a defendant's testimony, the part that never makes a documentary, where somebody explains their working life and their finances in ordinary detail. It matters because this is what most of a trial actually sounds like. She was convicted in May 2022 and sentenced to life.
I was ready to go. I had all the equipment I needed. I didn't have to stop and buy equipment. Dan had the kind of vision where you could see it further down the road. And he had that vision for me, and he had that vision for himself as well.
Did Dan, did Dan tend to, I don't want to use that word. Would it be fair to say that Dan's kind of working style, at least to the untrained observer, seemed chaotic?
Oh, yeah. Even to his wife, there were times when it seemed chaotic.
Was it?
No. He knew exactly what he was doing. He had a plan to get through to the end. And you may not have thought, if you were a stranger, that he really knew everything was going on, but I assure you, Dan knew everything that was going on. And later on, he'd start a conversation in which I thought, well, Dan wasn't even paying attention to that, but Dan knew every detail. That was not him. He knew what was going on.
You said that you were flawed and that he completed you.
Mm-hmm.
Were there parts of your personality or parts of who you were that maybe could be frustrating to Dan or exasperating to Dan?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I don't think that I'm not coming into this situation perfect by any wild stretch of the imagination. And I am a person who has been self-employed all my life. And if I see an opportunity, I tend to leap in feet first. And Dan is not like that at all. Dan is research. Okay, we'll do this. And here's how we'll do it. Me, I'm already in the middle of the water before I think, maybe a plan would have been a good idea. What do you think?
How did you guys resolve those times when maybe your imperfections were coming to the surface?
Well, we talked, every night we sat in the hot tub and we talked, and the TV wasn't on, and we were sitting there, and he was giving me guidance on my catering company and what to do, and he was telling me about his day, and the frustrations we had were relatively minor, but I don't want to jump into a rabbit hole here, but there is an issue I could go to.
That's all right. We're going to try to keep you out of the rabbit holes.
Thank you.
In the nearly 25 years that you were with this man, did you ever doubt Dan Brophy's commitment to you?
No. And I never doubted his fidelity either.
Did you ever doubt your own commitment to him?
Never once.
What's it like to be without him now?
It's like you've lost an arm, like you're just not as good as you were when you were with him. When you were with him, you were the best you could be when you were together with him. And now it's like, yeah, I function, but there's something missing.
Do you think, looking back on it now, that you held up your end of your marriage?
Oh, I do. And I would tell you if Dan was here, he'd tell you the same thing. And he would tell you he held up his end of his marriage, of our marriage as well.
Did each of you marry the right person?
100%, absolutely.
I want to shift gears for just a minute
Okay.
and talk to you about money.
Okay.
There's been a lot said during this trial about how you and Dan handled finances.
Mm-hmm.
At times, it sounded like maybe you were even being shamed by some of the expert witnesses. Did it feel that way to you?
I would say when I told you Dan thought outside the box and maybe didn't even lived outside the box, yeah, but I would say I did the same. You know, we made choices that other people wouldn't have made.
Did you graduate from the University of Houston?
I did.
What was your degree in?
Economics.
And did Dan have a college degree?
He did.
And what was his degree in?
Biology.
Was Dan a very, very, very smart man?
Yes, he was. Probably one of the smartest men I've ever known.
Between the two of you, did you know how to run a business?
I did.
Did he know how to run a business?
It was a learning thing, and he learned with me as we went along.
And between the two of you, did you know how to run a household?
I did.
No. Maybe you did things a little different than other folks. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Financially, did things just kind of go off the tracks for you and Dan somewhere between 2014 and 2017?
Yes, they did. It was a series of things happened that all came together at the wrong moment, you know.
Let me ask you this. Was there a reduction in the income that the two of you were making?
Well, that was one of the first things that happened. Dan had a second income, almost a second job, because he taught classes all over town. He taught a lot for In Good Taste. He taught a lot for Portland Nursery. He taught a lot for Bob's Red Mill. In addition, he taught private classes in people's homes as demonstrated by Vicki Schmalz, who talked about the fact that he did classes in her home for people. He did this constantly. We had a strong second income. I don't know if it was 14 or 15, but In Good Taste closed. Bob's Red Mill decided to remodel, and it changed the ownership from Bob to the employees. The Portland Nursery decided that they wanted to go in a different direction and did. So it was just a series of things that just kind of all in the same small period of time shut down that money.
Well, let me ask you this. In 2014, were you just about, was it 2014 or 2015 that you were about to turn 65?
I turned 65 in 15.
Okay. As you were looking at 65, did you want out of selling life insurance?
I did. I did.
A rug, a walking frame, a page of notes. None of these decided a case on its own, and it is worth resisting the tidy version where one small object unravels everything. That is a storytelling habit, not how these trials went. What actually happens is slower, a dozen small things that each have an innocent explanation, and a jury asked to consider how many innocent explanations one person should need. Everything here is public record courtroom tape. Subscribe for more real case files told with respect for the people at the center of them.